A wealthy businessman asked a beggar just one simple question, and that single question changed his entire life forever. But what was that question that inspired a man who survived on begging to stand on his own through hard work? Watch this heartwarming and truly inspiring story until the very end, because its powerful lesson might just change the way you look at your own life. For more inspiring, thought-provoking stories that can change your perspective on life, subscribe to @TheStoryEcho English. Give this video a like, and don't forget to share it with your friends and family. Now, let's begin today's inspiring story, The Beggar and the Wealthy Merchant.
The Beggar and the Wealthy Merchant. There was a beggar who had spent years begging at a railway station. Whatever money he received each day was just enough to survive. One day, a well-dressed gentleman in an elegant suit arrived at the station. The beggar thought to himself, "He looks very rich. Today, I'll surely receive a generous donation." He immediately walked over to the man and asked for alms. The gentleman calmly replied, "I will give you alms, but what will you give me in return?" The beggar was stunned. He said, "I am just a beggar. I survive on what others give me. I don't own anything. What could I possibly give you?" The gentleman smiled and said, "I am a businessman. My rule is simple. I give with one hand and receive with the other. If you have nothing to give me, then I cannot give you anything either." With those words, the gentleman walked away. That night, the beggar couldn't sleep. The same question kept echoing in his mind. What can I possibly give to others? I don't even have a home. The money I receive through begging is barely enough to feed myself. I don't even have decent clothes to wear. Near the railway station, the railway employees had created a beautiful flower garden. Bright, colorful flowers bloomed there every day. Many travelers would stop to admire them, take photographs, and continue their journey with a smile. Then one day, an idea struck the beggar. He picked a few flowers from the garden and carried them with him while begging. Whenever someone gave him money, he would offer them a beautiful flower in return. People were pleasantly surprised. They accepted the flower with a smile, thanked him warmly, and continued on their way. This continued for many days. Gradually, he began receiving more money than before. But more importantly, people no longer saw him as just a beggar. They saw him as someone who gave something in return. One day, the same wealthy gentleman returned to the station. This time, he gave the beggar some money and accepted a flower from him. Holding the flower in his hand, he smiled and said, "Now, you have become a businessman." Those words touched the beggar's heart. He thought, "I wasn't simply begging anymore. I was giving people a flower and receiving money in return. That means I'm not a beggar, I'm a businessman." From that day on, the way he saw himself completely changed. He spread out a small cloth and began selling flowers. He no longer picked flowers from the railway garden. Instead, he started buying fresh flowers from the wholesale flower market and selling them. A few years passed. One day, the same wealthy gentleman visited the station again. This time, he couldn't even recognize the former beggar. Standing before him was a successful flower merchant. The flower merchant smiled and said, "When you met me for the second time, I still believed I was nothing more than a beggar. My thinking was that of a beggar too. But that one sentence of yours completely changed my perspective. From that day onward, I started seeing myself as a businessman. I began thinking like one, acting like one, and making decisions like one. Today, I have my own home, I wear good clothes, and most importantly, I am truly satisfied with my life." Moral of the story: friends, the greatest poverty in life is not the lack of money, it is the lack of the right mindset. We gradually become the person we believe ourselves to be. So if you want to change your circumstances, first change the way you see yourself. Sometimes, one powerful thought is enough to transform an entire life.